Once upon a time, in a village called Ikem, there lived a young man called Ejike. Ejike is the most handsome man in the whole of Ikem. He was hardworking and was practically the dream of every maiden in the village. But unfortunately for them, Ejike was married to Ugo, the beautiful Ugo. Ejike loved his wife very much and affectionately called her the beautiful Ugo. Ugo, on the other hand, loved and respected Ejike and treated him as a king. They were the standard for good marriages in the village. However, their joy was incomplete. Ejike and Ugo have been married for 3 years without a child. They have tried all they can, but to no avail. They visited the herbalist of their village many times, and sometimes traveled to far and near villages to seek solution. Ejike always consoled Ugo when she breaks down and encourages her to wait for the appointed time. One day, after 4 years of their marriage, Ugo fell seriously ill. Ejike gave her some herbs, but she remained the same. He decided to visit the village herbalist and to tell him the situation so he can take care of his wife. On their arrival, the herbalist examined Ugo and congratulated them with a broad smile. The couple were overwhelmed with joy. They were expecting a child. They couldn't contain their joy, as this is the news their ears have been itching to hear. Ejike pampered his wife. He decided to do the cooking and washing at home so that his wife can rest. Joy came back to their home at last. Or was it? Ugo usually visits the herbalist to be examined and to see if the baby was fine. The whole village shared in their joy. But unfortunately, their joy was short-lived. The herbalist disclosed to them few months after getting pregnant that they were expecting twins. Ugo broke down on hearing this. Many years ago in Ikem, Adapu, a young maiden, was molested by an unknown marksman when she went to the riverside to fetch water. The molestation led her to be pregnant, and the whole village saw that as an abomination. She later gave birth to twins, and the twins subjected the people of Ikem to hell. From that time, giving birth to twins in the village was considered an abomination. Ugo became sad. She barely eats. Ejike, though heartbroken, would put his pain aside and console his wife as though he was okay. The two always prayed that a miracle will happen for them, to have one instead of 2 babies. 9 months later, Ugo went into labor. There was a heavy downpour on that day, with thunder strikes all over. The whole village immediately became dark, while Ugo screamed to push her babies. With the help of the midwife, Ugo finally delivered. The sight of her 2 beautiful daughters brought a broad smile on her face. Ejike was thrilled to know he was a father, not to a single child, but to 2 beautiful baby girls. But soon the reality dawned on them, and their smiles faded away. They knew one of their daughters would have to be killed, and Ejike planned on pleading for the lives of their daughters to be spared, at the expense of theirs, if the need be. Fearing for their children's life, Ugo made a heart-wrenching decision. When Ejike went out to fetch help, Ugo took one of the twin girls and fled into an abandoned hut in the forest, leaving the other with Ejike. Upon Ejike's return and seeing his wife's decision, he broke down and wept bitterly, while holding the other daughter. The villagers, believing the twins were evil, attacked, and Ejike was forced to defend his daughter. Ugo and her daughter Inelma lived in secrecy, far from the village's dangers, where she lived and became very happy. She taught her to cook and spent quality time with her. She always told her about the existence of the other family. which is Ejike, and her sister Chinen, and told her the sacrifices they had to make to survive. Years passed and Naoma grew strong, beautiful and wise. She was respectful and took care of her mother. But soon, Ugo's health began to decline. Naoma gave her mother all the help she needed and took good care of her, but all to no avail. This sickness claimed Ugo's life. Naoma wept bitterly, not knowing what to do and how to continue staying in isolation on and on. She decided to go back to her village. Just when she entered the village, she met a young woman, her twin sister Chinam. Unbeknownst to them, their reunion would change the fate of Ikem. A long-standing conflict had left the village defeated and divided, and the conflict was still ongoing, causing people to run helter-skelter. Nelma fell down and Chinelo reached out to hold her hand and to pull her up. But the touching of their hands and the looking of each other's eyes brought a liberation to the village. There was a radiant light that enveloped them, and a powerful energy spread through the village. The spark of their reunion brought an end to the conflict. It healed people's wounds and restored peace to Ikem. The villagers, realizing their past mistakes, welcomed the twins with open arms and apologized for what they did. Naoma and Chinelo were overjoyed to be reunited, and they went to meet their father who was sick. Upon Ejike seeing Naoma's presence, tears flowed down his eyes. The twins held their hands and looked into each other's eyes. Immediately, the radiant spark brought healing to their father. They spent hours sharing stories of their lives. Naoma and Chinen lived happily, their bond growing stronger each day. They became symbols of hope and unity, reminding the village of the power of love and acceptance. Ejike lived as a proud father to witness his two daughters, while there was a memorial day to commemorate the brave act of Ugo.
Before we talk about the moral lesson, please take a minute to subscribe to our channel in order to support us. Back to the moral lesson. Do not judge your future or your present based on your past. Give room so that new things can happen to you, and do not look down on anyone, for help can come from where you least expected. Thank you.